The very next morning, Mr. Harrison called me personally. "Your grandfather left one final instruction," he said. "He asked me to observe one family gathering before distributing the last portion of his estate." My heart raced. "The cruise?" I asked. "Yes," he replied. He believed people reveal their true character when they think no one is judging them. A week later, after the ship returned, every member of the family was invited to Mr. Harrison's office. My mother walked in confidently, already talking about how wonderful the vacation had been. My sister laughed as she showed everyone pictures from the cruise, never realizing why we had all been summoned. Mr. Harrison opened a sealed envelope bearing my grandfather's signature. "If you are hearing this letter," he began reading, "then my family has completed the final test I arranged before my remaining estate is distributed. Wealth should never reward selfishness, it should reward character." The room fell silent. The letter continued, "I instructed my attorney to observe how each member of the family treated those with the least power to defend themselves. Nothing reveals a person's heart more clearly than the way they treat children." My mother's confident smile slowly disappeared. Mr. Harrison looked directly at her before reading the next paragraph. "If anyone excludes children from our family for convenience, comfort, or favoritism, they have already shown they cannot be trusted with what I leave behind." My sister whispered, "This can't be about the cruise." Mr. Harrison calmly replied, "It is." He explained that he had witnessed every conversation on board, including how my mother proudly told relatives that my twins were too little to matter, and that I had chosen to stay home over a childish disagreement. Then he opened another folder. "Your grandfather's final trust includes his investment portfolio, the lake house, and several commercial properties." My brother leaned forward. "How will it be divided?" Mr. Harrison answered, "Exactly as your grandfather instructed." He read the final sentence aloud. "To my granddaughter, who chose her sons over luxury, and who refused to let them believe they were worth less than anyone else, I leave everything." The room froze as he placed the documents in front of me. The estate was worth more than $20 million. My mother stood up in shock. "This isn't fair." "It was only one vacation." I looked at her quietly and replied, "It was never about a vacation. It was about two little boys learning whether they belonged in this family." No one had an answer. 6 months later, Ethan and Noah stood beside me on the porch of Grandpa's restored lake house, laughing as they skipped stones across the water. Above the fireplace hung Grandpa's favorite quote, "A family is measured not by who is invited to the celebration, but by who is never left behind." Looking at my boys, I realized I hadn't walked away with everything because of an inheritance. I walked away with the only things that truly mattered: my children, my self-respect, and the legacy of a man who understood the true meaning of family. When my mother announced she was paying for a luxury family cruise, my 8-year-old twin boys, Ethan and Noah, exploded with excitement. They taped a countdown calendar to the refrigerator, watched videos of giant cruise ships every evening, and even practiced folding towels into little animals after seeing them online. Seeing their happiness made me believe this vacation might finally bring our fractured family closer together. For weeks, everything seemed perfect. My older sister bragged about the excursions she planned to book, my younger brother talked non-stop about the casino, and my mother proudly reminded everyone that this trip was her gift to the family. Every phone call ended with the same sentence: "This will be a vacation none of us will ever forget." 2 weeks before departure, my mother called and asked me to come to her house alone. Her voice sounded unusually calm, which worried me more than if she had been angry. The moment I sat down, she slid a printed passenger list across the table and said, "There have been a few changes." I scanned the list once, then again. My name was there. My sister, her husband, and their teenage daughters were there. My brother and his girlfriend were there. But Ethan and Noah were missing. I looked up, convinced it had to be a printing mistake. "It isn't a mistake," my mother said without looking me in the eyes. "The twins aren't coming. They're too young, and we decided the extra cabin would be better used by your sister's girls. They'll appreciate the trip much more." I felt my chest tighten. They've been counting down the days for 3 months, I whispered. They've already packed their bags. My mother simply shrugged. Children get over disappointment. Adults rarely get opportunities like this. I stood up immediately. Then I won't be going either. She laughed as though I had made a childish threat. Don't be dramatic. Hire a babysitter for the week and enjoy yourself. You're a single mother, you deserve a break. I stared at her in disbelief, wondering how someone could dismiss her own grandson so easily. That evening, I had to tell Ethan and Noah the truth. Ethan quietly carried his little suitcase back to his bedroom without saying a word. Noah looked at me with watery eyes and asked the question that broke my heart. Did Grandma stop loving us? I hugged them both tightly, unable to answer because no explanation would make sense to children who had done nothing wrong. On the morning my family left for the cruise, I turned off my phone and drove the boys to a quiet beach instead. We built sandcastles, flew kites, collected seashells, and ended the day eating ice cream while watching the sunset. By bedtime, they were smiling again, and I silently promised myself that no one would ever make them feel unwanted if I could help it. Late that night, after the twins had fallen asleep, my phone buzzed with a photo from my mother. It showed the entire family posing on the ship beneath a banner that read, Bon Voyage. Her message underneath said, you should have stopped being stubborn. As I zoomed in on the picture, I noticed an elderly man standing several feet behind them. My heart skipped a beat. It was Mr. Harrison, the lawyer who had handled my late grandfather's affairs, and the serious expression on his face told me he hadn't boarded that cruise for a vacation.